Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Scumdogs Kennel. I'm your host, Chris Williams, and I have another great show planned for us. We're going to be looking at alien robots. Do aliens use robots? Are they drones, or are they actually aliens themselves?
Chris Williams, and I have another great show.
And that was me checking if my stream is going on. But first, while we wait for people to gather in the chat, let me go off and show off some artwork for my own upcoming graphic novel, Scumdogs, okay? Here we go. Here's my extreme 90s cover. This cover I did harken back to the comic books of the 90s. It looks pretty good, huh? This cover basically features my characters, the Scumdogs, fighting their arch enemies, their enemies in the Space Forces. Scumdogs, the name of my graphic novel, is a parody comic book. I parody the cartoons from the 80s, cartoons we all know and love when we were growing up. And this cover is basically harkened back to the comic books of the 90s, with a big, huge battle going on. Now, the Scumdogs, as I said, are supervillains who want to take over the universe. Pardon me. See, they're called Scumdogs because in the future there's such a thing known as the Scumdog Sports. Sporting events held with superhuman monsters as the pro athletes. These are called scum and dogs because they traded in their humanity for money. See, you have to compete in these sports, you have to transform yourself into a superhuman beast. With superhuman powers. And they do this either through science or through some kind of magical means, and they become superhumanly powerful creatures with powers enough to basically obliterate anything in their path. So you get the idea they're not exactly the nicest guys around. But what happens when they get banned from sports? Well, the Scumdogs decide to take over the universe. They're led by their leader, Death Mug. He's the purple guy with the metal mask over here. He's the leader of the Scumdogs. He's an arrogant dictator who wants to rule the world. He's based on various villains from 80s cartoons. Like Skeletor from He-Man, he's got a skull face. And like the villains of G.I. Joe, the leaders of Cobra, well, he looks like Cobra Commander from Cobra. He's got a skull face, Cobra Commander from G.I. Joe. And like Serpentor from Cobra. He's Serpentor from G.I. Joe, another leader of Cobra. He's got gold on him. And he's purple, like the Shredder from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You can see him here fighting his arch enemy in the Space Forces, Buick Starpoon. Buick Starpoon is the guy with the pink pompadour hair over there. Him and the rest of his team are all G.I. Joe parodies. That means they each have a military specialty, something in the military they do. Buick Starpoon's military specialty is that he's a captain. But if you notice the way he looks, he's also a parody of space opera kind of heroes. Anyone wearing a similar uniform to Buick Starpoon on this cover, you can see, is part of his team in the Space Forces. Notice his white uniform, the green uniform, or the white uniform you see. That's their uniform in the Space Forces. Now, Buick Starpoon, because he's a space opera parody character as well, he namely parodies characters like Zap Brannigan, Captain Kirk from Star Trek, Buzz Lightyear or Buck Rogers, those kinds of heroes. He's an arrogant military guy who never admits when he's doing wrong, even though he knows when he's doing wrong, and it just keeps heaping up the disaster level, or basically makes a situation even worse to the point it goes from just being bad to a complete disaster. And he refuses to admit he's wrong because he's so arrogant. He hates Death Mug because Zap Brannigan, Buick Starpoon sees him as an arrogant jerk, even though he himself is got an ego the size of a freaking, mountain. Or maybe bigger than a mountain. Maybe so big we can't say, or maybe so big it's just gigantic. Or gigantic. Now, the other member of Buick Starpoon's team is on this cover as well. Over here we have this guy who's also a member of his team, the guy with the mohawk. His name is Roadhog. And as I said, they each have a military specialty, something in the military they do. Roadhog's military specialty is that he's an army guy. Before he joined up with Buick Starpoon and joined his outfit, he was part of the army. All right? Because like G.I. Joe, the Space Forces tend to get people from other branches of the military who were specialists in their field in the military. So they wanted them to use them to fight the Scumdogs. Over here we have this bald guy with a gun. His name is Beach Pounder. His military specialty is that he's a Marine, just another Marine. Then you have this guy back here in the red uniform driving that vehicle. If you're wondering why they wanted people who were specialists, because they wanted to make a team like G.I. Joe could fight evil terrorists like the Scumdogs. Now, this guy over here in the red uniform, his name is Blast Tank. His military specialty is that he's a heavy vehicle specialist, a tanker. All right. Now, this cover is one of 3 different variant covers you can back on Indiegogo when my Indiegogo goes live, folks, and they'll look great. Now let's go over here and look at Girl Friday. Girl Friday is another member of the Wild Rangers. That's the name of Buick Starpoon's team in the Space Forces. It was their name and stuff. Now, Girl Friday was assigned to be Buick Starpoon's second in command because while the Wild Rangers fight the Scumdogs and save the universe, they're also complete morons whose idea of saving something is basically destroying it and basically causing a gigantic disaster. So they head off criticism from people who were annoyed, or rather angry. Her superiors in the Space Forces assigned Girl Friday as Buick Starpoon's second in command. She hates him, and she hates her job because she feels like she's a little better than a person who basically goes around minding children, or, a babysit. You get the idea. It's just a baby minder. And she hates Buick Starpoon, and she feels like her career in the military is over. Now, folks, if you please hit that like button Folks, please hit that like button for me because it helps me fight the algorithm. And the more people that hit that like button means my graphic novel Scumdogs comes out all the sooner. I work on my book every day, folks, and when it's done, it will be on Indiegogo and you'll be able to back it. As well as, please, folks, if you want to watch this video again after I'm done making it and streaming it, please go to my Twitter page at 77megachris1. It will be on the first pinned tweet because YouTube basically buries my videos for a while. You would, at least for several hours, so you won't be able to watch this on YouTube. You won't be able to watch this video on YouTube except for a little while. It'll be up later on and stuff like that, but basically, not till a good long time after I've made the video. But if you want to watch it again directly after I'm done making this video, just go to my Twitter page at 77megachris1. They can't bury that. Now also, folks, hit that bell. Yeah, hit the bell for notifications. And also make sure to hit the part of the notification bell that will give you all future notifications for my videos. And please go share this video out on Twitter and Facebook. Now let's look at Death Mug's henchmen, because in all 80s cartoons, the main villain of the cartoon would have henchmen, and they'd be total idiots. These are my idiots. These are a couple of henchmen that I created, and they're just going to be fun to read about. The pink guy down here is Sloppy, and the blue guy up here in the top hat is Murdermouth. They're a parody of every henchman from an 80s cartoon. They basically go around destroying stuff, and they're going to be fun when you read about them. Here, let's look at Hair Middle Doctor. Hair Middle Doctor is a parody of Dr. Mindbender from G.I. Joe, a mad scientist. But my mad scientist, who works for the Scumdogs, is also a hair metal musician. He thinks of all the stuff the Scumdogs use and basically as their villains and stuff, and he makes it all for them. But he also does it while being who he is. He's Hair Metal Doctor. Let's also look at Miss Breasty Melons, who's another member of the Scumdogs. Miss Breasty Melons is a parody of the Baroness from G.I. Joe, a villain. She's a villain just for fun. She only became a villain for fun, and she's only being a villain for fun. That's Miss Breasty Melons. Now I'll exit out of this, and we'll look at some Indiegogos before we look at alien robots. I'll be asking, are aliens robots or other such things? Are there bio-robots? Is that what we are dealing with when we look up into our skies? We'll be looking at those tonight. Feel free to leave me a few chats, folks, because I want to hear from you guys. So let's go look over here. Let's go to Indiegogo. Cyberfrog, first wave in action figures, is still funding in demand. It's made $407. This looks pretty good. You can basically back any of these action figures for $40, folks. You can get, you can get most of them for $40. The Vespid action figure, the big wasp creature here, will cost you $75 because it's far bigger. But each of these action figures will come with stands and stands so that you can basically pose your action figure and make them stand up. But they will also all come with exchangeable hands and heads as well. Heads, yeah. You'll get several exchangeable hands, exchangeable heads, and stuff like that. But also you should know that when each of these action figures reaches a stretch goal, you'll get even more accessories added to it. Here are what the boxes the action figures will come in will look like. You can get 90s Cyber Frog for $40. That's the early Cyber Frog from the 90s before he was redesigned. You can get him for $40. You can get the Heather Swan action figure for $40. You can get the Vespid action figure for $75 because as I said, it's, well, for one thing, I should say all of these action figures are comparable to anything you can buy in stores, so that's good as well. But as I said, the Vespid's action figure, who is basically a bad guy in the series, is far bigger. But so you get it $75, but you're getting a big one. Now you can also get the modern Cyberfrog action figure. That's what Cyberfrog looks like now in the comic books. Modern Cyberfrog for $40. And each of these action figures is fully opposable, and you can do marvelous things by posing them in any way you wish. And stuff. That's you can also get the Cyberfrog Wave 1 set of 4, which is $195. But you get each of these action figures for a good price, and they all are beautiful. Go get them, folks. They're up on Indiegogo. Cyberfrog First Wave action figures. All right. Black and White Volume 2 has made $41,595 with 22 days left. You also have Black Ops, Carmen America's new book, which has 5 days left. It's made quite a bit of money. Godlike the Romulus Saga has made $191,242 with 27 days left. That's very good. It's made quite a bit of money. It's nearly made $200,000, and that is good. Let's go look at Godlike the Romulus Saga. This comes from the creator of Graveyard Shift, Malin. Well, John Malin. This book looks very good. Let's read what he has. Let's read what it says. Well, what this book is about. What this book is. Everything I loved about the magic of Saturday morning's comic books and cinema. Best describes as Star Wars meets John Carter. All hope for humanity is gone. So we thought. John Malin, Jawbreakers, and other books returns to reinvigorate the superhero genre. 10,000 years from now, a new dark age is upon us. One man, haunted by visions of a bygone age, a mythical world known as Earth, must remember past, humanity on a distant dying world in an age where magic and super science are one. To kill a god, a champion must be godlike, or he has to become godlike. You can back this book for $25. It doesn't look like there are variant covers to this book, but you can get two other books as well. You can get the Godlike Supplemental, which is good. Now, each of these books, or as I understand, are 38 pages long, or rather, Godlike and Godlike Supplemental. The Godlike book, Godlike is basically 48 pages long. It's going to be one single story, but the Godlike Supplemental is basically two stories set in the same universe as Godlike, but each will be 24 pages long, but the book itself will be 48 pages long. But you're getting two stories that are going to be 24 pages long in the book. You can also get Visions, which is another collection of pinups that artists have sent in to John Malin, and basically you can peruse hot women from different projects in this book. That's Visions 2. You can get each of these books for $25 or get them all together. Ascendant, which is $75, get Godlike Volume 1, Godlike Supplemental, Visions 2, trading card for $75. That's a good price, and maybe I'll back that. Very good, I'd say, right? Now, this looks good. This project also has stretch goals, but let's go and look at the trailer first before we do anything like that, maybe.
haunted by visions of a bygone age and mythical world known as Earth, must remember his past to save the last of humanity in a harsh, dying world. In an age where magic and super science are one, to kill a god, a champion must become godlike. Become godlike in order.
That's the trailer we just watched. Godlike. Go, yeah, get this book on Indiegogo. It looks great, folks. Earthbound Part 2 has made $68,912. Narwhal presents Disintegration Street. Not bad. We have the 9 Lives Astro Cat, which has made $118 already with 58 days left. Cthulhu Invades Odds graphic novel has made $26,208. The Lucient graphic novel has made $64,232. Night of the Weirdos. 6 children spend their Halloween in 1999, run from Lilith, the goddess of death. Looks good. Final Boss has made $53,000. U.S. Assassin Book 3 Graveyard Shift has made $20,782 with 16 days left. It's basically what happens when U.S. Assassin basically and his new team fight Graveyard Shift in an epic crossover event. Go back it, folks. I think we looked at this enough. Let's go over here and look at Alien Robots. Maybe go to this one first. Robots, UFOs, are they machines from elsewhere? Let's go take a look at this trailer. Look at this story right here. In 1920, Karl Kapek wrote the 3-act play, Rusham's Universal Robots. Probably didn't realize he would be changing humanity's conception of what it is to be alive for generations to come, much less had the word robot to the world collective glossary, derived from the Slavic term and stuff like that, meaning the work done by an indentured servant. Robots have gone on to become a staple of science fiction. We take their functions and existence for granted with our own efforts at robotics, ranging from industrial mechanical arms, the new wave of lovely Japanese machines. According to our own age group, we look back fondly on either Robbie the Robot, R2, and C-3PO. Perhaps some even remember seeing the graceful Mari making her appearance for first time, Lang's Metropolis. Only a year after Rue appeared on the stage, French director Deed created one of the first science fiction movies involving robots, L'Uomo, the Mechanical Man. I'm not going to try reading this real name, French, the Umo, something. I'm just going to basically call it the Mechanical Man, depicting the Mechanical Man depicting the Mechanical Man, a giant humanoid robot created for criminal purpose, but who was checked by another quality, sizable machines settling their differences in an Italian opera house. These original Rockham robots showed audiences mechanical men, while emotionless, could have served the cause of good as well as evil. Rampaging robots. In an article for Sega, UFO Report UFO Annual 1975, Otto Binder basically made robots represent a rather rare category of UFO nuts. UFO knots. One that cannot be ignored. Witnesses often describe these creatures as having stiff movements and also having angular lines, quite unlike living human beings. These strange entities range from the uncanny to the eerie. He goes on to add, we can logically assume that some worlds do not send their living explorers to Earth, but use robots, somewhat like the Russian mobile vehicle on the moon. But apparently the aliens have perfected observation vehicles in the form of living creatures. Binder refers to the automated likelihood Lungahood probe, but a more updated example will be on Curiosity. Well, what do you think about that, folks? Do you think aliens would send robots? Do you think the grays that people see, the alien grays that people see in basically UFOs or in abductions, are actually biorobots, synthetic beings created for the purpose of basically being used as servants for another alien race? Or maybe several alien races. It depends. Maybe these things can be bought and then you can use them to explore dangerous environments because they're not actually alive. They're just biomechanical robots. They're basically clones. humans, but with maybe mechanical parts or maybe a very artificial brain and stuff inhabiting it. They eat, or maybe they just exist, and maybe there are very few things you need to basically keep their upkeep with. Maybe they eat very little, or maybe they just take in fluids and then they just last for a while. That could be what we're dealing with when we come with such things, huh? Now, let's get back to this article. Curiosity rover on Mars, another robot, to engage on a study in the red planet in 2012. UFO encounter reports from the late 1960s and the early mid-70s often described encounters with robotic entities. I can name one, or rather, 60s and 70s, the Flatwoods Monster. It sounds like a robot from that story because it was basically made of metal, and it basically just floated around on like it was part of a jet plane or something. I mean, or it had jet engines or hover engines on it. It was made of metal. What do you think? Could that be an alien? Could that be an alien robot or something? Something that's basically mechanical and basically looked like it was completely artificial, at least what people said of it. Let's get back to this article or story. Entities emerging from UFO are conducting their activities in areas where UFO activity was common. All right. Entities emerging from UFOs are conducting their activities in areas where UFO activity common. Researchers at the time conceded that organic UFO knots could on occasion entrust certain missions to mechanical creations, much in the same way that our planet's space program launched unmanned probes to destinations within the solar system. The robotic alien, for want of a better term, became one of the 4 or 5 recognized and accepted types of possible UFO occupant. And there have been quite a few, like this lady, or like this one lady who said she saw a bunch of robots that were basically these big barrels with tentacle arms, and basically they had little legs and stuff, and basically sort of weird shaped robotic heads. Other ones that describe other kind of robot creatures, like as I said, the Greys. Or basically these little fairy things, or they look like little winged men, but they didn't move and they just basically floated around. Looked very much like robots as well. Well, they looked like they were made of metal, or at least a very hard substance, and they didn't move around. They just floated. Their wings didn't move. They just floated, as they said, as this one witness, as this one lady said. Interesting, huh? Very interesting. Do you think robots are actually aliens? Do you think aliens send robots here to basically look around and basically send them out as like we do with our own robots out in space, and basically have them check out an area if it's too dangerous? It could very well be. By the way, folks, hit that like button for me. It really helps me fight the algorithm, okay? The more people that hit that like button means the more people are watching my content, and the more people that watch my content means my graphic novel Scumdogs comes out all the sooner on Indiegogo. And as well as, remember, folks, if you want to watch this video again, go to my Twitter page at 77megachris1. It will be on the first pinned tweet. Hit that bell and the notification bell, and hit the part of the notification bell that will give you all future notifications for my videos. And please share this video on Twitter and Facebook. Let's get back to this article now. Did robots from another planet go to Avon, Connecticut in September '67? Police officer found themselves responding to frightened calls from the public involving a shiny suited robot in the vicinity of Telcote Mountain. The seemingly mechanical entity appeared to be engaged in some sort of frantic semaphore, trying to stop drivers along Route 44. Descriptions of the entity coincided in aspects such as a call or helmet that completely enshrouded the figure's features, and stiff movements as it wobbled on the road shoulder, trying to stop traffic. Police officers reported to the scene, but were unable to find any trace of the intruder. In February 1981, Lewis here, the owner of a small food and beverage concern in the village of Frontier in Spain, had a brush with the unknown that led him to believe that robots of unknown provenance had visited his small community. Between 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock, his small community. Between 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock a.m., February 13th of that year, Dominguez had closed down his business and was heading home. I'm going to maybe just call him by his first name, huh? Lou. Headed home when two red lights caught his attention, thinking it might be the tailgates of a car being used to commit burglaries in the wee hours of the morning. He headed in the direction, hoping to take the law into his own hands, but the would-be vigilante was floored by what happened next. The tail lights rose into the air, made an odd twisting turn to the right, and landed elsewhere in the countryside. By his own admission, the unnatural sight made him break out in goosebumps. Speeding back home where the red lights were still visible, Lewis, his wife and son, watched nervously as the lights engaged in the guy here is who we were talking about. His wife and son watched nervously as the lights engaged in a variety of movements. Some of the undulating, most spectacular of all was a sudden flash or beam of white light fired from the source of the two red ones, illuminating all the homes of the area as if by a giant lamp. Klieg lamp, or maybe just a giant lamp. It was then that Lewis heard his dog bark, the family pet, obviously named Satan, outside of the house, barking at an object near to the fence, then circled the property. Lewis described it as a box-like contraption resembling a washing machine or small refrigerator, taller than the fence by a few inches. It had neither head nor appendages. Curious object disappeared when Lewis armed himself with courage and a flashlight and stepped outside for a closer look. However, he made a startling remark to J.J. Bendiz, this guy here. The dog would bark at it, and the object from the very edge of the fence would answer it with a very slow bark that was slower and muted. And it may seem ridiculous, but I swear it's true. We got the sensation that the thing was intimidating our dog. The following day, while returning from school, Jose San Francisco, his son, the guy's son, excitedly told his father that a patch of burned vegetation was now in evidence, the site where the red tail lights had been seen the night before. In fact, a patch measuring some 5 square meters, desiccated, then burned grass was found in the field. Desiccated rather than burned grass was found in the field. The case attracted the interest of a number of local newspapers. Interesting. Very, very interesting, huh, folks? What do you think about that, huh? I mean, what could these things be like this? The case, desiccated, then burned grass was found in a field. The case attracted the interest of a number of local newspapers, which in turn prompted government ministries to take on interest in it. Subsequent analysis revealed no traces of radiation at the site. Really? Desiccated, then burned grass, was found in the field. The case attracted the interest of a number of local newspapers, which in turn prompted the government to take an interest in it. Subsequent analysis revealed no traces of radiation at the site. Why do you think that is, huh? That is weird as well. Did the government just say there was no radiation? Trying to make sure that no one got too suspicious? Wally, an avid fisherman who enjoyed practicing the sport in the waters of the Ilsa River, not far from the monastery of Santa Maria in the Spanish province of Zamora. During the quiet hours of an early morning in the spring of 74, Rodriguez's 2 dogs began to bark furiously for no reason. This guy here, Wally, all right? He basically, yelled at his animals for spooking away the fish. The man later became aware of a bizarre figure standing. He basically yelled at his animals. Yelling at his animals for spooking away the fish, the man later became aware of a bizarre figure standing over 6 feet tall with its arms held closely to the side of its body like a soldier. According to his description, the sunlight, the strange entity looked as though it had been made of silver. Once recovered from the shock, he ordered his dogs to attack the strange metallic form, which simply glided away toward a nearby hill and then vanished. While many have questioned claim Rodriguez is Wally here is adamant that silver presence he saw in the spring of '74 wasn't a person, it was an artificial. It wasn't a person, it was artificial. I think it was a sort of robot that came out of a saucer and answered to its commands. He told Iker Jimenez and viewers of, Iker here, the Curato Molino, this television, viewers of a television program. All right. Spain's own Antonio Ribera made significant caveat when it came to a case involving humanoid occupants. We must then exclude the hypothesis of biological robots created by an extremely advanced science. Such robots would bear no resemblance to the crude robots of our science fiction, full of nuts and bolts and electronic cells, but would be actual living beings. The landing at Veros de Sal dovetails, interesting enough, with Kubik's with Karl Kubitz's ruler or Karl's robots and stuff. Human looking in every way and having emotions. Interesting. Very, very interesting. I keep saying that, don't I, folks? I mean, but honestly, what? Do you think aliens would use robots? Do you think they'd actually clone humans and maybe make them, like biodroids? They'd look like us, but their minds would be artificial. And they'd basically be servants to aliens, but they'd use them to basically learn about human society by sending them out. Or do you think they'd actually have robots that are basically mechanical inside, but be advanced and stuff? Because I think they do that as well. There could be several of these such things. Let's look at part 2 of this article. Robots and UFOs, are they machines? From where? August 19, 1972. This miss here, a school teacher, were camping in southern France near Saint Jean de Cord in the backyard of a friend's house. The location commanded a view of the town and the surrounding hills. Around 2 o'clock a.m., stirred by the sound of festivities in the town, Miss X left the tent for some fresh air and became aware of a very bright light, size of an Aceta. Kind of a weird-shaped 2-passenger car located in a parking lot on one of the hillsides. While she wondered what could cause an automobile to glow in such an uncharacteristic manner, she heard the sound of heavy footsteps. Uncharacteristic manner, huh? She heard the sound of heavy footsteps advancing toward her in the darkness. She would later tell researcher John Paul Guggen, strange sound was similar to a child stomping on dry leaves. Upon turning around, the woman was startled to see a perfectly dark shape against the blacker background, a rectangular shape crowned by an oval head standing some 10 feet away. It seemed to me the shape was made of wood and some 30 to 40 centimeters thick. She would later tell Guggen it was a parallel pipes with 2 round circles where its eyes should have been, 2 round parallel pipes with 2 round circles where its eyes should have been, 2 round circles some 5 centimeters in diameter, which were all that could be seen on it. The black mass turned toward me. I was unable to see its feet or its legs because they were covered by tall grass. According to Miss X, she felt an overwhelming sense of morbid fear, not arising out of herself, but being projected by the apparition. She added the curious detail that everything surrounding the object appeared dead, as if it were unable to neutralize the very air, grass, and trees around it. Interesting. Do you think this woman actually saw an alien robot, or do you think these people are making this up when they see these aliens and stuff like that? I mean, honestly, what do you think about that? Do you think these people actually are telling the truth? Truth. I mean, did these people see such things? And that's another thing. These robots always almost seem to be singular instances. You never actually see these creatures again, but you see the other such creatures again over and over again. Or do you think this what you saw here was maybe like a creature from another universe and stuff like that? It could also be that she saw a shadow person, which is another name for these creatures. But it could also be, as I said, a creature from another universe. Miss X ran back into the tent, ran back into her tent. Hey, folks, by the way, please hit that like button for me. The more people that hit that like button means my graphic novel Scumdogs comes out all the sooner. And also remember, if you want to watch this video as soon as I'm done making it, please go to my Twitter page at 77MakeAChris1. It will be the first pinned tweet. Please also hit that notification bell. Hit the part of the bell that gives you off-feature notifications. And please go share this video. Please share this video out on Twitter and Facebook. Let's get back to this article. She ran back in her Miss X. She ran back into her tent where her sleep. Let me try that again. She ran back into the tent where her sleeping husband had been aware of the entire proceedings. The husband testified that his wife's features were deformed by fear and that she told him she had just seen a frightful, horrible thing, huh? Okay, so this woman was scared. She ran back into the tent where her sleeping husband had been aware of the entire proceedings. The husband testified that his wife's features were deformed by fear. She told him that she had just seen a frightful thing outside the tent. When asked why he did not venture out of the tent to see for himself, he admitted that his courage failed him. While no other locals corroborated the sightings of the robot nearby, homeowner complained of having heard strange footsteps on her back porch exactly same time that Miss X encounter with an unknown was taking place. Geometrical artificial UFO nuts have had a fondness for France. 1976, John DeLucky, driving his pickup truck along the Twilight Rural Road, St. Jean de Royan, Saint-Tenge, when he became aware of a bright white light in the darkening skies above him. In a hurry to make it home, DeLucky ignored the object and continued on his way before realizing the object was coming in for a landing. Suspecting the private plane in distress, motorists went over and hoped to get a better look. In a matter of seconds, he realized that it was wasn't an airplane nor a balloon. Well, neither an airplane nor a balloon nor anything he'd ever seen before. The spherical object eventually landed in a nearby field, much to his amazement, and an opening appeared on the side of the luminous object, and three giant robots, DeLucky described them, emerged from within, having small square heads, spinally tubular arms resembling fishing rods. After converting the field for approximately 10 minutes, mechanical giants re-entered their craft, which shot away at a fantastic speed. Article by Jacques Vallée, Jacques Vallée. Article by Jacques Vallée for Flying Saucer Review. Pattern behind UFO landings contains an interesting case that could be perhaps interpreted as a cyborg report rather than a robot. October 20th, 1954. Unnamed witness in the Provincia di Erba near the Italian city of Como. Strange being in a silver outfit staying near a tree. Witness was paralyzed flashlight-type device by an unknown entity. A common occurrence in a UFO report. Somehow was able to break this hold by clenching the car keys he held in his hand. Moving upon seeing this, with the entity rose from the ground, making a whirring sound. Its lower body appeared to end. Yeah, we're in sound and in a funnel-shaped device with a circular pattern, having the same diameter as a bicycle wheel. Authorities managed to photograph what appeared to be an oily spot on the ground. Had the cyborg sprung a leak as a result of the incident? 4 days later, a child, and in some place called Catherine Ruin, reportedly saw a man-like figure with clothes that looked like iron emerge from a craft. Summoned mechanical men. Uh, a ufologist Roberto Ben something here. Ben. Should I read that name, folks? Roberto here, the guy, looked into a case involving a peasant woman from the ufologist looked into a case involving a peasant woman from the town of Genopeca in the province of La Pampa, May 28th, 1962. The psychological impact of the witness was such that she required hospitalization after the experience. The anonymous witness was tending her field adjacent to another property belonging to the brother when she saw two flying saucers land in a neighboring field. One of these objects disgorged two horrible giants that shocked her. Okay. According to the source, the witness's family reported the incident immediately to the police, who reported promptly to scene of the events. Their survey of the area found an immense wheel of burned, crushed grass. Crushed grass at the site where the flying saucer had made a soft landing. An immense wheel of burned, crushed grass where the flying saucer had made a soft landing. The witness's brother, who acted as her spokesman in all these reports, told others that the giant entities made non-human movements, uncoordinated, mechanical, and gestured to his sister, bidding her to come closer. These gestures were described as strange and nearly incomprehensible, with the witness unavailable to tell her story. Hearsay details would later emerge, such as the giant mechanical retrieved the saucer when they noticed the woman failing about in abject terror. High strangeness, robots. Interesting. Very, very. Following an account may remind readers Matthew Robbins' 1987 film, Batteries Not Included, which diminutive alien mechanisms fix-its lend assistance to the movie's characters. But it is far from being a rough draft, some science fiction project. Jerry Townsend, young radio broadcaster, was on his way from Little Falls to Long Prairie, Minnesota, around 7:40 in the evening on October 23rd, 1965. As he rounded a bend a few miles outside Long Prairie, the electrical system in Townsend's car went dead, forcing him to hit the brakes and coast to a stop. Ahead lay an astonishing sight, a rocket-shaped object standing some 20 to 30 feet tall, resting on a hinge, much like a V-2 rocket. A pulp magazine spaceship. Well, it looked like a pulp magazine, huh? Or something like that, huh? It looked like it. Like it was from something like that. It looked like it was from such a thing. According to the broadcaster, who had left the relative safety of his car for a closer look at the rocket, a trio of diminutive objects shaped like beer cans emerged from under the ship, heading toward him. These small robots, 6 inches high. These small robots, 6 inches high, wallowed on two fin-like appendages and appeared to be watching him. After ascertaining that the 19-year-old radio man, no threat, the objects retreated under the rocket and vanishing into it. The craft took off noiselessly, causing Townsend to compare it to the flashlight being lifted off a table. Off a table, huh? Coral Lorenzen Coral here, who included the account with her article UFO occupants in the United States for a flying saucer review noted the wrap-up on this case included inquiries to teachers and friends. Townsend got a clean bill of health as far as his reputation for honesty was concerned. The local sheriff and police officer visited the scene of the alleged incident, found 3 parallel strips of oil-like substance about 4 inches apart and a yard long on the surface of the road. Corroboration of the sighting came in a pair of hunters who reportedly saw lightning objects lifting off the sky from the area where the minibots had startled Jerry Townsend, who perhaps wishes he would have had a witness or two to corroborate his mind-bending experiences mind-bending experience occurred in the following Australian case. Yeah, what comes next, huh? Honestly, what is this? What did these people see here? What are these creatures? Are they actual robots? Are they actually seeing robots? Are these people just having their minds messed with and they're seeing something completely different? As I said, a lot of people say that aliens mess with people's heads and that we basically see them in forms that we're comfortable with. Do people see actual aliens, or do they actually see robots? Or, I mean, what I mean is, are more people comfortable with seeing alien beings, or are there people more comfortable seeing robots? But in reality, could these creatures be completely different than what we're actually seeing here? Because we don't know. But it's interesting to think that there are such things out there, isn't it? 6 young friends set off in their car. Bensbation, Wallocka, New South Wales, Australia, June 4th, 1972, never thinking for a minute they would become part of a UFO lore. Finding that their vehicle would not start, the group became aware of a pulsating red disc-shaped object resting on a nearby hill, some 200 yards away. A humming sound combined with the red pulsations caused the witnesses to feel ill. 2 members of the group had gone out to search for help, returning running, saying that a giant shadow was headed their way. Hiding in the grass, the youths reportedly saw a towering robotic entity, an estimated height of 7 to 9 feet, gliding over the surface. Described the menacing presence as shiny with a round helmeted head, broad shoulders, and arms that came to pointed heads. It grew closer to witness reporting that the vanishing into the air. "Ooh, Bianca fights the zombies. Aloha, dudes," he said. "Yeah, aloha, Bianca fights the zombies. Nice for you to show up. Leave a few more chats. We're talking about alien robots here." Wondering if the aliens actually sent out actual creatures, or are aliens actually robots? Or is there a race of alien robots out in space? Some people do say that an alien race could be made of machines as well, as basically just being out there and stuff like that. But let's get back to this article. As it grew closer, it came to a point, round the menacing presence of a shiny and rather round helmeted head. As the witnesses reported that it vanished into thin air, an illusion projected by a disc to keep the intruders at arm's length. This fascinating case was investigated by author and researcher Bill Chalker back in 1975, who suggests the area surrounding Bensbation is a major paranormal hotspot prone to a wide array of UFO-related experiences. Conclusions. As our own automated probe venture cautiously in the solar system, or as our automated probes venture out into space, delighting scientists, data and casual observer with amazing photographs, we had no problem visiting an extraterrestrial civilization engaging in similar behavior. Why expose an organic crew of explorers to the perils of a hazardous and even poisonous atmosphere without first sending a mechanical events party? UFO case histories, particularly those overseas, contain fascinating eyewitness accounts of machines and entities that were classified as robotic due to their halting movements, or simply the observer's perception that he or she faced something that wasn't alive. Are such robotic manifestations by an unseen intelligence simply meant to fit into an acceptable frame of reference? Yeah. Do people basically think that they're seeing robots or aliens? Or basically, are these creatures actually something completely different because they're able to somehow basically to affect our perceptions of them? Or are they actually just machines and aliens? Let's get back to this article. That of the machine man, which has become worldwide actual pioneers from a distant solar system. Got the end of that article. But that's interesting to think about, huh, folks? Do people actually see alien creatures? Are there actually alien robots out there? First contact would be aliens, or would aliens be robots? Yeah, people have asked that. Would we encounter these creatures? Would they actually be robots? And the first aliens, were they billion-year-old robots? An alien race like that? Could that be as well, folks? I have another article over here. Scientist claims aliens, mortal robots, are billions of years old. How long is this article? I'm not so sure I'll be able to. Oh, I guess it's not that long. Assuming we haven't met aliens, still looking for our cosmic neighbors, our first encounters with aliens could be scary. So if you've imagined aliens as small humanoid beings with a massive elongated head, almond-shaped eyes who have weird obsessions sticking probes people's into people, then it's not going to be that, huh? Mm-hmm. Study titled Alien Minds, Professor Susan here from the University of Connecticut, the Institute for Advanced Studies at Princeton, discusses the theory of how first contact would be with extraterrestrial race, robotic extraterrestrial race, which is billions of years old. Yep, a robot which is so old that it's difficult to grasp, according to the Daily Galaxy. Professor Snyder says that an alien AI could already be out there in the cosmos, and it's most likely billions of years old. Other civilizations may be vastly older than us. Earthlings are galactic babies. That's weird. We're galactic babies, huh? Or we're just young. Dr. Snyder believed, in the greater age of alien civilizations. In a report published by Daily Galaxy, Professor Snyder said it. All lines of evidence converge on the conclusion that the maximum age of extraterrestrial intelligence would be billions of years, specifically ranges from 1.7 billion to 8 billion, 1.7 billion to 8 billion years. 8 billion years, huh? 1.7 billion. Okay, that's old. This means that if aliens are out there, not only are they way smarter than we are, they are also more likely to have already adopted a post-biological phase. Uploading onto machines would mean that silicon-based life could survive harsher and more dangerous conditions than that based on carbon-based life forms. Coincidentally, means that their civilization could survive for much longer periods of time. I think it's very likely and inevitable. Biological intelligence is only a transitory phenomenon. If we ever encounter extraterrestrial intelligence, I believe it will likely be post-biological. Dr. Snyder agrees that there are many advantages of being silicon-based. It's easier, for instance, to survive space travel. There's tremendous computational power available, and I have my doubts that we'd want to become robots, folks. Power available. There are no physical limitations. Skull and machine could, in principle, reach superintelligence quicker than a human, she said. There would be near immortality and reliability. Interesting, there are a lot of astronomers, scientists who believe aliens could, in fact, robots. And why not? Ray Kurzweil from Google has predicted mankind will merge with machines in a few years. And I hope that doesn't happen as well. If you take into consideration that aliens do exist and have existed for millions of years, if not billions of years, then it's only logical to assume they've merged with machines eventually. Search for extraterrestrial intelligence. Yeah, okay, this is what these. What can I say? I'm not really liking this idea all that much. Consider the fact that any signal we pick up has come from a civilization, at least as advanced as we are. Now, let's say, conservatively, the average civilization will use radio for 10,000 years. From a purely probabilistic point of view, the chances of encountering a society are far older than ourselves is quite high. Maybe. And this is what these people say. Yeah. Read that article there. They could very well be as well, huh, folks, about this? It could be. But who knows really for sure what it could be as well. Had some fun reading these articles. Maybe look at a few more articles. Maybe billion-year-old robots. A similar article right here and stuff. This is basically someone did another article on this person. But what do you think, folks? Do you think there could actually be such things? Two top scientists think ETs will be AI robots, so we need to meet them with AI robots. We need to make our own AI robots. So the entire thing needs to be AI robots. Oh boy, that's annoying. I might have to do that's very annoying, huh, folks, to think about this. But it's also very entertaining as well. Do you think that we would encounter alien robots? There's also such a thing as genetic engineering. Does not mean that a species would make themselves into robots. It could be that they would send themselves, or basically use biotechnology. As I said, biorobots. Or maybe they would send themselves. They could basically engineer themselves to be able to survive in any environment. And their bodies would be so tough they wouldn't have to be worried about basically being killed by hostile life forms. That could also be as well, folks. So do not believe that everything would be like this. There's such a thing as different kinds of technology, after all. That doesn't mean we should basically believe in it. Basically, think that all aliens are robots. But doesn't mean that there aren't alien robots as well as alien life forms out there, or maybe even creatures like supernatural creatures that we don't understand, because that's all we're talking about, stuff we really don't know we don't know what's happening out there. So it could be anything, and very entertaining to read about. Now, folks, I'm going to ask you all to please go and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Read Comics They're Bad For You, okay? That there in the title is misspelled. It's THERE. Make sure you're still subscribed. Leave some comments down below because I want to hear from you guys. All right. Yeah. Also, hit that bell. Hit the part of the bell that will give you, or maybe I should do this first. Please remember, folks, as soon as I'm done with this video, it will be up on my Twitter channel on Twitter at 77megachris1. It will be the first pinned tweet, because YouTube basically buries my videos for at least several hours, so you won't be able to watch it on my YouTube channel. Or yeah, you won't be able to watch it. So go to my page. Make sure also go and hit that bell, hit the notification bell, and hit the part of the bell that will give you all future notifications. Also, please go share this video out on Twitter and Facebook. All right, got that done. All right, folks, please go over to Stitched Together Pics. It's a YouTube channel that deserves far more subscribers. It's a great channel. He reviews movies, and you're going to love his reviews of movies. They are great. He plays this character called the maniacal cinephile. He basically is one hell of a crazy character. There are also other characters as well that he's made, and they're all fun to watch. Go and subscribe to Stitched Together Pics, as well as go over and subscribe to Creepy Little Book. Creepy Little Book is like the Art Bell radio show. He basically makes small videos talking about high strangeness, but he also does live streams every night. Yeah, he does live streams every night. He live streams on weekdays at 12:30 a.m. and on weekends at 10 o'clock p.m. He talks about aliens and ghosts, and you'll learn so much from watching his live streams. They are great. All right, folks. Also, remember, folks, I'll be back again tomorrow around 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock or 11 o'clock p.m. for another live stream. So be sure to come back again then. Yeah, we had one hell of a great live stream. One hell of one. Yeah, we had a lot of fun and stuff like that. We talked about alien robots and what they are, and doing a lot of fun. That was just great. But I'm going to have to end my life. Yeah, we're going to be back tomorrow with even better live stream. So be sure to come back again then. We're going to have so much fun talking about weird things. So feel free to come back again. Yeah. So feel free to come again. I'm Chris Williams from the Scumdogs Kennel. Thank you all for joining me.